Yes, guys. It's Tiago's Father 89 here, and you're locked into another episode of Red Sea Full Time. Liverpool go into the Emirates and get a clean 2-0 win. At moments, the result did look in doubt, but we have closed the gap to one on our title rivals, Manchester City. In January, people were saying it was not a title race. We were 14 points behind heading into the African Cup of Nations, missing our two arguably biggest stars. But Liverpool have done the unthinkable, like we always do, and we closed the gap. We'll discuss all of today's results, all of today's match talking points on the other side of this intro. Let's go.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. Got Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are unsupported, and we come from Liverpool.
Yes. We're back again for another episode of Red Sea Full Time. It seems like forever since we've done one, actually. To be fair, we've been dodging the Red Sea Full Times for some reason. I just think how it's probably worked out. But we're back on your screens tonight, obviously discussing everything that is Liverpool and Arsenal. And just quickly, a few bits of housekeeping. Obviously, thank you very much for 500 subscribers. Feels like we've been on 500 subscribers forever. And if you would be so kind, please like and subscribe for me, please. So pop a little like on this video. Also, if you'd like to as well, tell a friend, hit the bell notification just so you know where we are and everything that's coming up as well. We're obviously on the Twitter, so follow us over on the Red Sea Podcast on Twitter. We are the Red Sea Podcast over at Instagram as well. And obviously, you kind of know where to find us, guys, also. But, I mean, today's been an interesting day. To be fair, the week's been an interesting week. City draw at Crystal Palace and then Liverpool roll into town in London and show City how it's done. And we romped to a 2-0 win over Arsenal at the Emirates. I mean, further Premier League scores as well coming in. Spurs beat Brighton 2-0. Seems like Spurs are actually starting to tick over slightly. Maybe Antonio Conte is getting his methods across and they're actually sinking in. But it's a 2-0 win for Spurs at Brighton. And Brighton seem like they're in free fall at the moment as well.
Absolutely.
Could
6 losses in a row, I think.
Yeah, could be getting sucked into some places where they don't want to be. I mean, I think Graham Potter is kind of a victim of his own success. He was getting sort of muted for the United job and loads of stuff like that, and it's kind of gone a little bit horribly wrong for him. But I don't think Brighton will press the panic button because I think he's a good fit there.
They got way too many points to be dragged in. They're 11 clear still, way too many to be dragged in, I would say.
Yeah, well, you'd hope so. But anyway, we've got official business to discuss. I mean, we'll probably skip the first half because let's be honest, guys,
not a lot going on, was there?
No, the first half was a bit shitty, and I did say at half time between us in our group chat, Firmino and Salah for Jota and Mane. I wanted off, to be fair. But he stuck with Mane and he subbed Diaz. Let's talk about that because Diaz has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, even in today's game, the end product wasn't quite there, but he was still hunting, the ball. He was still running. He was working incredibly hard. Do you think that the substitution was just a case of protecting him a little bit because he's played a lot of football since he's come in?
Yeah, it's a fair point that you make. I think they're all going to have their chance to play a 90-minute game. We've got 5 to fit into a front 3, so someone's going to play 90 minutes every week. Usually it's going to be Mo Salah, but today it was his turn to drop out, which I'm quite surprised with. I said last night that I thought he would have started, but he's come on, and to be fair, again, he's looked a little bit off the pace for me tonight. I think it's it's more Bobby's impact for me is what really sort of cemented the victory tonight, and Jota got one just before he went off. But no, I think Diaz was okay. He worked hard off the ball, as you say, and I agree with you. I think the end product for not just Diaz, but a few of the players wasn't quite there, especially in the first half. Trent played some absolutely sublime balls through 2 or 3 times to Mane, to Diaz, and they weren't able to finish it off. A slightly poor touch or Mane with that one over the bar just towards the end of the first half as well, after a decent touch, to be fair. So, yeah, like you say, Diaz has come in, kind of set the world alight, played every game, played in the final. At some point, he's going to revert back to his tried and tested. And this game, like you say, there was hairy moments in there for a little while. And you end up with Mane, Salah, Firmino as your front three, which, he trusts and believes in to do a job and manage a game. So I wouldn't say Diaz was particularly off it or particularly brilliant. I think he was, a solid 7 out of 10. I think Mane was probably fortunate to stay on. I don't think he had one of his better games, but it just shows you, doesn't it, when you've got 5 players, to put into 3 positions, at least one of them or 2 of them you would hope are going to get you over the line, and that's something we've not really had for quite some time, and shows you, the difference that it makes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And earlier on there, you mentioned Trent, so let's just briefly discuss this. Martinelli had him on toast all game. Martinelli
well.
had his card. I don't think he necessarily just played well. I think Martinelli was outstanding. To be fair,
really good.
He was a bright spark, and Saka as well was a bright spark in their side as well. But Martinelli especially, and to be fair, credit where credit's due. Off the ball, he made Trent look pretty average tonight. To be fair. And that's not me being horrible to Trent or being critical to Trent. I just think Martinelli was that good tonight. He was hungry. He had the bit between his teeth. He done tonight what a lot of wide players or forward players struggle to do against Trent. I see it as a battle of wills. It's who's going to surrender that ground. Trent wants to play, high up the pitch, and Martinelli was like, "Well, it doesn't matter. I've got Tierney behind me, so." I'm gonna play high up the pitch. I'm gonna occupy spaces which you're not, and I'm gonna take advantage of that. Trent done okay with his recovery runs to try and get back into positions, but Martinelli's feet are just unreal. So credit to the lad of the Arsenal team. He would certainly be a player that I would love to see in a Liverpool shirt, because he's got that craft, he's got that guile, he's got that passion, that drive, that determination. There was a point there where we had 3 players on him. And it reminded me of the Costas against Burnley when he had three players on him trying to rip the ball from it. And Martinelli did the same thing. And if you ask Thiago's mother, she'll tell you I was going absolutely nutty. How the hell has he made it out of there? But when they kind of replayed it, he like they were saying in the commentary, he's just not afraid to stick a foot in. So do you know what? Credit to you, lad, because you played some serious football. There's not many people out there that get the better or get the better or probably the best right back in world football in an attacking sense and partially in a defensive sense as well. So well done to you. I mean, Arsenal played some decent football in the first half. There were some sustained spells of possession where they were getting in behind Liverpool as well. They were creating opportunities as well, and arguably, Lacazette should have gambled with that kind of cross across the box, across Alisson's box, and got in there and kind of slid in Odegaard as well and put it in the back of the net. There was obviously the Alisson Becker opportunity as well. Bit of a mix-up from Thiago there, but Alisson, being probably one of the world's best goalkeepers, if not the world's best goalkeeper, saves the day and it goes over the bar. But I think that was kind of the bright spells from Arsenal. Let's get onto the goals. So the first goal from Liverpool, you obviously in the chat you said what a goal, and I quote unquote I said fuck the goal. Let's talk about the assist, and I stand by it. I stand by it because the commentary said it, and I hate digging out goalkeepers and saying the goalkeeper should have done better there. It was a sublime shot from Diogo Jota. He's gone to the near post. He's put the ball where no goalkeeper really wants it, which is kind of close to the body, and they've got to adjust the leg to move their legs out of the way and angle down to try and get to the shot. And it's been hit with so much venom and so much power that arguably, Ramsdale can't keep it out. But the pass from Thiago, oh my god, it was crazy. Like I was real pervy over the pass. So come on, SS, talk us through it.
100%. No, it was two good through balls from Thiago tonight. One nearly cost us a goal, and one definitely created one, didn't it? But it was it was a sublime pass. Again, Thiago and Fabinho, that record that they have in the midfield, I think they've won something like 19 out of 20 matches and drawn the other one where they've started. Which I look at stats when they're maybe half that, and you think, okay, you could have got fortunate. He's not the best injury record. He's coming in against the Norwiches and the Watfords, and you can get that kind of record. But now, going to Arsenal, going to the Emirates, getting victories, 19, 20 matches together starting, that's not coincidence anymore. That's working really, really well. Fabinho and Thiago.
Whoa, hold on. Whoa. Is this finally Thiago praise that I'm hearing? Because I will clip this right now. Is this Thiago praise that I'm hearing? Yes or no?
I just think that they work really well together, because you've got when they're both fit, when they're both firing, Thiago especially, Fabinho's got everything that Thiago hasn't got, and vice versa, in my opinion. They are the ultimate footballer rolled into two players. They've got they complement each other perfectly, and you've got Henderson as the leader on the other side, who, to be fair, I still think is underrated. I think he played well as well tonight, up and down, organised, battling hard, decent through balls.
The second half was better. I think the positions he was taking up in the first half were frustrating. I felt like he was. I couldn't understand his role. Maybe a better football brain than me will break it down for me, so I can understand what Jordan was doing in the first half. There will be some tactical side to it. I thought maybe he was trying to occupy a wider position to help nullify the threat of Tini and Martinelli and help Trent, but I didn't see lots. I didn't see lots of that.
No, I agree.
Whereas I thought in the second half he came a little bit more central in those pockets, in those little holes, in those little gaps, and created a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It reminded me a little bit of a boxing match where you're jabbing on the outside. First half we were playing kind of Henderson closer to our goal than theirs. He was playing with Xhaka and the mid and Partey in front of him, whereas in the second half he got in on the inside. Became in between the lines and upset Arsenal's kind of rhythm and midfield kind of wall almost. They were kind of quite comfortable in that first half, I felt. So once Henderson kind of went in there, Thiago as well, Fabinho, basically looked after the midfield by himself defensively. I think that was the difference and the tactical change that we needed to really kick on in that game. So yeah, Thiago's ball was absolutely sublime, and all we all want is just consistency now. We know Thiago can't play 50 games a season, but if we can get 25 world-class performances out of him, whether that be they're saving for the the really important Premier League games. We've got Watford next, so does he need to play in that one? Possibly not. A Curtis Jones could come in and then he's ready for that Manchester City game, that big, massive Premier League decider coming up. So, that's like you've said in the past, mate, that's how he's been used at Bayern and how he's been used at Barcelona. And look at the success it's brought. They've both won everything they could possibly win almost. So if we can keep that up and he can stay fit from now to the end of the season, we manage his minutes well, it's only going to be beneficial to both. But yeah, that like you say, that it was kind of a moment that kind of made this match for me. You mentioned the Alisson save from the Odegaard chance, the Thiago ball back to him, not quite finding its mark. Alisson stands up tall, gets his arm to the ball, and on the other side of the pitch, Ramsdale, a little bit of a soft arm for me. Jota has to go full power. It's the only way it goes in at the near post. And to be fair, it reminded me of a Mignolet, a Karius. We've seen at times them both be beaten at their near post. A Leroy Sané goal springs to mind, where really as a goalkeeper, your near post should always be a big no, shouldn't it? That's the one you cover really. If they push it across you, you can push it out, but your near post really, you'll know better than me, should really be on lockdown. So yeah, he's done well, Jota. It's not an easy angle. He's blasted it as hard as he could. I think the goalie will be disappointed with it. I think when they roll in tomorrow and review the game, I think he'll be looking at that with the goalkeeper coach and thinking, do you know what, I probably should have done better. But that was the big difference. They're talking up Ramsdale of this next big thing. Oh, he's a fantastic goalie. He's one of the best goalies in the Premier League. There's levels to this game. Alisson is one of the best 2 or 3 goalkeepers on the planet. Ramsdale maybe in the top 20. 30. So, for me, that was the difference tonight. They've got a very good team, but we've got a world-class one.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's difficult when the ball comes in at the near post. I'm sure TF Junior will be watching that and have his opinions on it. Big shout out to my eldest boy, who's a goalkeeper, a decent goalkeeper at that. But he would have his opinions on that, I'm sure. And would probably be sitting here telling me, Dad, you can't turn around and say that he should have made that save. You know what it's like. So I do have some sympathy with Ramsdale there. And you're always taught in that kind of role, in that position, to be in the goal. A lot of goalkeeping coaches will tell you to come out and be round the post and face it up to cut the angle off. But I think what he was trying to do is be set potentially for the cutback, because Liverpool like to cut the ball back. Arriving on the scene would have been Mane. Arriving on the scene would have been those players would have been arriving on the scene. So you've got to try and stay in your goal, stay big, and anticipate the shot, and be able to shuffle your feet if the cutback comes, and be ready for any kind of save there as well. Quickly, Damien, where are you? Where is it? Where's that comment gone? Hold on a second, boys. There was a comment in here. Just if we're talking about if we're talking about the Jota goal. I mean, I think he was taking a little bit of stick from sections of the Liverpool fan base, to be fair, because he kind of put that, that kind of, go and talk now kind of thing.
I think it was the Arsenal fans giving him a bit of stick, to be fair.
I think he was getting stick from both, if I'm being honest. I think he was getting a bit, I think not stick. I don't think the Liverpool fan base was giving him stick. I think they were just basically saying, come on, man. Like, we know what you're capable of. Do you know what I mean? Like, start to do the bit. Yeah, frustration. You get it. Start to do the business. And I think by him doing that was a case of, I heard ya. I'm doing, there you go. And then obviously.
Like Maguire against, scoring against Andorra. What are you saying?
and do you know what I mean? But Klopp made the sub. A lot of managers.
That's a good point.
Bottle it. They bottle it and go, he's just scored. I can't take him off. He's in the ascendancy.
Yeah.
Klopp said, bro, that's not enough to save you. Yeah. That goal is that. I've made my decision. That goal is not enough to save the shithouse first half that you've had. Yeah, you're coming off. And we don't normally see Jurgen Klopp make changes at 50 minutes.
No, not at all.
So this was unusual. And again, he was out early from the changing rooms. He obviously tore some fucking new rear ends, and then decided, I've had enough of ripping into these fucks. I'm gonna go out, and they're gonna correct it. And at 50 minutes, we still hadn't corrected it. Hence why he decided he was going to make that change. But obviously, Jota came off with a goal. I mean, you said about the Firmino change. Being kind of instrumental in terms of how we play, because you said it yourself. You thought that we might go with a front four. It's almost go 4-2-4 is what you were thinking. And I didn't obviously have an opinion on it at that point, but I thought that we would see just a straight change anyway, and we did. I mean, what's your thoughts on the influence of Firmino in this game? Because he was at the heart of everything we did creatively after he came on the pitch.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, I've not seen, just touching back on Klopp just for a moment, I've not really seen him like that before. There was a moment in the first half where Fabinho basically just did a have it and absolutely levered it out. And he went mental. He literally did the kick. He was like, "What are you doing? This is not what we are. This is not what we do." So he
went absolutely fucking mental on the touchline.
He was not impressed at all. So I felt like if he was ever going to make early changes, it was tonight. And when you turn around and you've got Salah and Firmino as your options, it's very tempting to, it's hard to wait till the 65th, 70th minute when you've got two fantastic options on the bench. And me and you have spoken length about Bobby Firmino. Should he be starting? Should he be coming on as an impact sub? What's the better role for him? And, I think historically he's usually quite good to start a big game. We've always said, we've got Chelsea away, we've got City away, we've got Arsenal away, we've got United away. Bobby should start and Jota should be the impact player. But to see Bobby come on and have that, first minute pressing in a 50th, 60th minute, it was actually quite refreshing to see. And again, it was for me the difference maker to it. So we always mention that Salah, he's the match winner. But for me, I don't really think he changed a lot in this game. But the way that Jota was not really working hard enough off the ball. Yes, he got his goal. We've said a few weeks now he needed that goal. Hopefully now he'll kick on. If he gets a goal against Watford, then you've got that conversation of who starts the Manchester City game, don't you? Because me and you were at the Watford game, and Bobby had a very good day in the reverse fixture with I think it was a cheeky hat trick that day, wasn't it? So that's what we want. We want competition for starters. That everybody's looking at that City game thinking, I want to start that game. I'm the first 11 of this Liverpool team. That's my spot right there. So Bobby's come on. He's been out for a few weeks. I wasn't sure whereabouts he'd be in terms of fitness and form, but it looks phenomenal. And he pushed them, he pressed them into mistakes. They dropped further and further back, and eventually we had our reward. And Robertson gets a little bit fortunate with Saka on the left hand side, and Bobby's right there to tap it home for 2-0 and pretty much put the cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that, because at that point when the initial press went on, the shot from what seemed to have been Thiago initially, but Mo Salah took the shot. Robertson then goes full steam in and gets the deflection. At which point, my TV downstairs, my lovely Samsung 55-inch, is suffering from the Samsung trait of death, where it decides to just turn itself off at random points, and it did it just as that fucking goal went in. Oh, mate, literally, I lost my shit. I went mad. and it was funny because prior to that, Thiago's mother was down watching the game as well. And I was saying, I think we need to replace the TV. And she's going, do we really? She's like, it's working now. Leave it alone. It'll be absolutely fine. And then this fucking happens. So at that point, little does she know, I have ordered a brand new TV. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, we'll see how that goes down when it turns up in a couple of days' time. But yeah, it was impressive. The press was impressive. The kind of the run from Robertson to chase down the ball, no lost causes, and get that ball back into the box, and obviously the finish from Bobby was sublime.
It was brilliant.
And do you know what it reminded me of?
Yeah.
Before you go, Bernardo Silva against Crystal Palace, identical chance. Yeah, Bernardo Silva doesn't finish that chance. Bobby Firmino does. There's levels to this, guys.
That's the difference. Like you say, you're away to Palace and you don't win, or you go away to Arsenal and you do. And just before we move on, I just wanted to touch on that substitution point with the formation, like you say, the 4-2-3-1 or even the 4-2-4. It's an interesting one because if Jota doesn't score that goal, I watched Arsenal's substitutions tonight, and it really shows you kind of where Liverpool used to be and where Liverpool are now. That all they can do is like to like. It's just it's Lacazette off and Nketiah on. It's position for position, and there's not really any kind of change there tactically.
Variation. There's no variation.
No, there's no variation. Whereas you look at Liverpool and you think, we've had front fours in the past. Jota kind of came in last year, and we saw it a few times, but not a lot. We saw it more with the Coutinho days with the front four when we really, really needed a goal. And Man United have had it in the past. Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, Berbatov, all on the pitch at once when they're absolutely desperate for a goal. So I think that's going to be really key, because if Jota doesn't score that goal, for me, we need to win this game. Do you keep Henderson on, Fabinho on, and Thiago on? For me, you don't at 0-0 with 20 minutes to go. I would have been really interested to see. Obviously, I'm glad we didn't get to find that out, because who knows what would have happened. But would he have gone with a front four? Would he have put Firmino in that 10, kept Jota up top, and had Mane left and Salah right potentially? Well, that would have been pretty fire. But it kind of fills me with confidence that we have that option now, because we were just looking off air just before we went live at the remaining fixtures, and there's a lot of teams in there that are going to park the bus. We're gonna have a lot of the ball that you've mentioned yourself. There's teams like Watford in there that are fighting for their lives, and there's teams like Wolves on the last day, like you say, could be needing a point for Europa League or Conference League. So to have the option of at least 4, if not 5 on all at the same time, if you're absolutely gagging for a goal, I don't think Klopp's going to be afraid to use it now with that firepower. You turn around, you're going to have 3, 4, 5 world-class options now, whereas in the past it's been, have we got 3 players that are actually going to improve the team or keep it at the same level? Because there's times where Man United look at their bench and they think, well, if I make a change, it actually weakens the team. I watched them against Atletico Madrid. They're bringing on Juan Mata, and you're thinking that's, Bruno Fernandes isn't having a great game, but he's still better than, Juan Mata, who was, doing bits 10 years ago. So, that's a fantastic thing to have. So, I want to see, well, maybe not want to see, but it's good that we have the option if we need it with that front four.
Yeah, we've got more weapons in our arsenal than some of the others, and some of the commentary today was all led by that. Can Liverpool outgun Manchester United, so Manchester City to the title? Can we outgun them to the title? Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Manchester City don't play beautiful football. The Pep effect has been felt not only in Manchester but across the whole entire game. Before Pep came to the league, how many teams are actually trying to play out from the back and taking the same kind of level of risks which we're seeing in the Premier League today? The way that he asks his teams to play football with the element of risk and reward is probably the most that we've seen ever in Premier League history. He has probably single-handedly redefined the way that the game is played in not only Spain, in Germany as well, and also in England. You've got teams playing that style of football. We look at Arsenal today, the way they played out from the back, it was decent. I can't sit here and deny they looked confident and comfortable and accomplished in possession. But the difference between us and them is that we have got more firepower than them. We've gone out and we've spent money in a January transfer window and brought a player which, like Sunez was saying before the commentary, it could be 2%. It could be as much as 5%. But what it's done is it's given all of those boys a kick up the backside. The complacency which we once spoke about. I'm talking about in 2020, when we were talking during that sort of COVID 2021 season, the complacency that we were seeing and we were witnessing during that season was frustrating. It was a case of Mane, Salah, and Firmino kind of all knew they were guaranteed, so they just would play. Jota came in and upset the run of that a little bit, but it gave him a kick up the backside. Now Diaz has come in and upset that again as well and gave him a kick up the backside. He's broken up that front three. Jota, I don't think Jota quite did it. I think Jota became an addition to it. He didn't really break it up, whereas Diaz has broken that up. Diaz is like, no. I'm starting games, bro. Mane, you're going central. This is my position. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's good. It's good to see. So SS, thank you for putting this graphic up. Race for the title. We look at the remaining fixtures that we have, obviously coming up. The big one on the 10th of April, Liverpool versus City. This is huge. This could potentially be or decide the destination of the Premier League title. And then you look at the running after that. I mean, if you look at where of City's games, they then go to, prior to us, they go to Burnley, which isn't going to be an easy game because Burnley are fighting for their lives. They don't want to get sucked into that relegation battle, or they're trying to look to find a way out of that. So they're going to be tough opposition. They're going to sit in, they're going to make it difficult. And if Palace have been able to sit in and make it difficult against City, I don't see why Burnley can't either. After City play us, they then go to Wolves, who are pushing for Europa League football.
Tough game away.
It's a very tough game away because Wolves play some decent stuff. Bruno Lage has got them whipped up and playing some good football. They go to Wolves, who again Watford, who again are fighting to stay in the league on the 23rd of April, which isn't going to be an easy game. Watford are going to throw everything they've got at them, but ultimately I think they'll beat Watford. And then you've got Leeds under Jesse March, who seem like they're reinvigorated and are playing some decent football. They obviously got a win in their last game as well. Then it's Newcastle under Saudi ownership, who are steady at the moment. Eddie Howe has whipped up that defence. They're playing some decent football with the addition of Burns in that defence, or Burn in that defence. Seems to have calmed and steadied that defence a little bit. West Ham, again, who are probably pushing for Champions League football rather than Europa. They're in the Europa. Well, it were in the Europa. They probably want to try and push Arsenal to the end of the season to try and get in and around amongst it and maybe upset the apple cart and maybe solidify the Europa League football. And then you've got Aston Villa. Will Steven Gerrard avenge the slip
last day
on the last day of the season? We then look at Liverpool's fixtures. Watford next week. We expect a few changes for the Watford game. I think, like you said, SS, I think Thiago might be rested. Curtis Jones to come into that midfield, maybe even Naby Keita. And I think Hendo will be rested as well for maybe a Milner in that game as well. The front three, I think we'll see changes. I think Jota will play against Watford. Personally, seeing as he was subbed on the 50th minute.
It depends who comes back from that international break, doesn't it? Fit, firing, on form, jaded, tired. We've seen different continents release their players at different times. We had the Watford match that we went to, and the Brazilians weren't even back yet. We had to drop a Kelleher in there, which is absolutely fine. But it's good that we have Watford on the return game after that international break. It eases you back into that running, doesn't it? Because there's a lot of teams on there that we both have to play. There's Newcastle, there's Watford, there's Wolves, there's Aston Villa. They've all got to play the same team. So it's a very, very similar run-in. I'd say ours is maybe slightly harder because you've got Tottenham and United in there, not necessarily because, we battered United before, but in terms of league position, Everton...
And Everton, I think, will be a tough game as well. I think Everton will be a tough game because they're fighting for their lives as well.
Absolutely right.
And then we look at the Villa game. Will Steven Gerrard step aside? is the question? Will he step aside? I mean, can you imagine? And look, I don't want to put this in the atmosphere. We beat City. We roll up to Birmingham at Villa, and we draw at Villa, or we lose to Villa. And we don't lose another game all season, and that's the game that takes the title away from us.
Could be Coutinho scoring the goal as well.
God, let's actually deep this for a second. How would you feel as a Liverpool fan if you win all those remaining games, you lose against Villa, the manager of which is arguably our club legend, Steven Gerrard, and the player that scores it is Coutinho, in the player we've always wanted to come back to Anfield? It's just the fucking irony would be unreal. It doesn't bear thinking about. But guys in the comments, tell us how you would feel about this. The most outrageous comment wins.
Well, I mean, as long as they do the same thing to them on the last day, because we've been in the situation before where we've got to play Manchester City away from home. It's in our hands. Last time we didn't manage to do it, and we were relying on other teams. Last day was Brighton. They did take the lead, and eventually they let us down. But if Aston Villa are going to take anything off us, why don't they do something on the last day? Could you imagine the reverse of that? We're going into the final day of the season, and let's be fair, there's going to be at least 3 points in it on that last day. So the last day, it's going to be that kind of there's been a goal here, there's been a goal there, that the league table has changed. Could you imagine the reverse where Coutinho scores the winner? Gerrard stops Manchester City winning league and in effect helps Liverpool to another title, which would be fantastic. So I prefer that story.
I mean, SS, May 22nd, we're outside Anfield, aren't we?
We need to be, mate.
We're in Liverpool on May the 22nd, boys and girls. We've got to be in Liverpool on May the 22nd, because if it's going down to the wire, we got to be coming live from Liverpool on May the 22nd, bro. It's got to happen.
I think so, mate. I think so.
It will be amazing. It will be absolutely amazing. Right. I think we're coming towards the end of the show, aren't we?
I think so.
I mean, what are we thinking then? Just to close out, are we winning? Look, 10 games left to go. 1 point behind Manchester City, still to play them at the Etihad. Is it too early to say that is it in our hands? Is it for once? Is being the chaser the advantage rather than being the chased?
I don't know. We've been there before, haven't we? Because when we won the league, we were miles ahead. We've chased Manchester City a couple of times, and they've almost thrived off it, haven't they? They've just been relentless. But this time around, it's been different. We've been chasing them, and you can see the pressure's getting to them. 0-0 with Palace, and Pep doesn't even make a sub. The squad that they have, he's turning around, looking at Jesus, Sterling and Gundogan and thinking, don't fancy you, lads. Sorry, I'm not feeling it. So I think he is feeling the pressure. I think he is worried. And, we mentioned some of the quotes he's said in the past few weeks that, mentioning Liverpool and how annoying they are and that they're always there. So maybe for once, it actually is better to be the chaser rather than the chased. So it all comes down to that game. Until that game happens, there's such a big swing. If they win, that's 3 points on us. That's enough to win them the league. If we win, we could be 2 points ahead of them with 8 games to go. So it's such an important 6 point a game. Normally you look at these as relegation 6 pointers, but it really is a Premier League final because these teams are so elite that that there's not going to be barely any points dropped from the end of the season from after that game. So I really do believe the winner of that game wins the league. If it's a draw, it is going to be nip and tuck until that very last day.
I think that Liverpool are finding form at the right time.
Yeah,
and I think this blip that's been spoken about of Manchester City. I'm not saying they haven't had a blip. They've been near perfect until now. So I'm not saying that Manchester City are having a blip. I'm just saying that it's starting to look a little bit tenuous. If you're a Manchester City player, either one or two things is going to happen. You're going to be super stressed by tonight's result and not going to get a wink of sleep, or you're going to be focused and close out this league. There is no other team in world football other than Manchester City which is capable of going on the level of runs that they do. They come off the back of these dodgy results. The 0-0 at Palace. There's nothing stopping them going on and winning every single game until the end of the season, including against Liverpool at the Etihad. There's nothing stopping them doing that. But at the same time, the only other team I can think of that are capable of doing it are Liverpool. There's nothing stopping us rocking up to the Etihad, smashing the fucking life out of them, and then making emphatic statements. Past that. Hold on. Big shout out to Jeffrey with this comment here. Yes, Bayern Munich can, but they don't have the sustained level of competition which we have in the Premier League. Bayern are not going to pull up at Mainz and feel troubled. Yeah, whereas we're going to pull up at Watford and it be stress. Yeah, let's be very, very clear. Bayern have the rule of that league, and if they don't, they just turn around and say, "Oh, well, who's your best player? Give him to us now." do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit different. But guys, we've come to the end of the full-time show. Thank you for joining us. This has been the Red Sea Full-Time. I've been your host, Thiago's father. This has been my co-host, Southern Scouser. SS, what we got coming up this week? What we got? So we'll do. We won't do anything for the Forest stuff. Well, we've got a bit of a break, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. The next game in the Premier is the 2nd of April. So unless we finish off a couple of our tier lists that have been hanging over our heads for about 6 months, there's not much coming up until then.
Yeah, guys, look. If you've hit the bell, then you'll know what's cropping up. But make sure you follow us on the social media platforms. Keep an eye on what we've got coming up as well. I think a tier list show might be a good one. But obviously, look out for what we've got as well, and then we can keep you obviously updated. But thank you for joining us. I've been Thiago's father. This has been Southern Scouser. We're over and we're out.